I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. Everybody get a chance to get a seat and get going.
Yes. Yep. That's
I don't want to hear about being blind as well.
Yes, I did. Perfect. Thank you. The transcripts are that's always been why.
All right.
If you do the weekends,
Thank you very much for being here. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? If not, we'll move on. If I get my glasses on here. Finance report. We had a brief finance committee meeting just before this meeting. The major issue is Paul's recommendation that we hire another basic groundskeeper custodian for the middle school. The Finance Committee discussed it at some length and supports it for a lot of different reasons. Paul is passing out a short summary of some of his concerns. This individual would share in the responsibilities not only during the academic year, but also help with the maintenance during the summer. Give everybody a chance just to glance over it.
I have a question
Well, just, okay.
when
Yeah.
we're ready for questions.
Okay, go ahead.
I see that the information sheet here talks about 305 hours of overtime. Will this position cut the number of overtime hours needed? Which will, in essence, pay for the
Well,
position?
it'll help. It'll help. This individual will be doing a lot of jobs, but it will help. It's hard to tell. Paul will keep it.
Short answer, it will reduce, I won't say it will reduce hour per hour, but it will reduce overtime.
And the rest of the staff isn't going to mutiny because of that? Well, people depend on overtime when it becomes part of a routine. So
All right, are there
I
any,
trust your judgment because you know your people and I don't.
are there any other questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Thank you very much. If you would like some more details, once again, the Finance Committee did go over in quite detailed discussion with Paul, and if Paul will probably be hanging around, you can ask him. The budget status report is for your information. You go down the consent agenda. Fran,
I'll move it.
have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on any of the items in the consent agenda? If not, I'd entertain a motion to accept it.
Accept. Yeah.
Yep. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Good, go down to policy. Rob?
Did we skip over the treasurer's report under finance? Accept it, post it,
It's just for your information, we can go over it.
No, I just noted that it said accept report next to it. If you don't have it, it's fine.
Thank you, we should probably do that. Thank you. We should accept the treasurer's report. I would have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Thank you very much. Thanks. We have a consent agenda that has been approved. We can go down to policies. Rob?
And policy 5180, this is it's still called tobacco prohibition. We didn't change that, but this is essentially the request from the administration to add specific language regarding different forms of consumption of nicotine so that it's clear that it's something that can be enforced. And you can see the language changes in the policy itself, the addition of the possession and use and/or use, and then the boldface, which is language. And I knew it earlier today, but I can't recall where that language came from specifically. Was it an AOE regulation, or did we get it from the the model policy.
No, I think most of that language came from, in the new changes that came out in light of what's happening with the vaporing and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
that's where that new language came to.
And I apologize for not remembering exactly where that language came from, but that language has been used elsewhere, and we believe that that would cover what the administration was asking for. And I think
Right.
Dave Barrio had
Yeah.
agreed with that.
One question.
Yeah, 1 second, Rob, would you like some comments from board members? Or- He's looking at
I
something.
thought we were just going to have some.
Okay.
I'm good with my explanation.
Okay, very good.
Wait for-
Yes, any questions for Rob? Yes.
Do we really call the police? It says, when applicable, law enforcement will be contacted. So if the kid's smoking in school or vaping, we call the police?
If necessary, that's correct. There may be some circumstances that they require that.
I don't know when it would be applicable. And Dave's not
I
here.
just don't remember that one. Yeah, and this isn't part of it, but what is the appropriate discipline now?
I don't know.
I don't have the student handbook here.
It varies depending on the degree and what's there, whether they get certain detention or whether they get up to the point, and depending on the amount and the severity of it, they can get suspended.
So that's just
And whether
in the
it's for
handbook.
sale and all this other stuff, so.
Yeah, I can say that the policy committee did not review that
That's not new.
specific clause.
Ed, did you have some questions as well?
Yeah, in the highlighted bold-faced paragraph, it refers primarily to students, and I'm wondering if we should also include visitors and employees, even though they're covered farther on in different paragraphs. It could be misleading to some people that don't read the whole thing. And I don't have any other comment on it.
Okay. Well, Rob, you'll be back to us
Yeah, that's.
with this.
That's actually very,
We can take a look at both those questions.
I'm trying to see what the,
Did you want the repercussions for students for tobacco? I have the student handbook if you want it.
I don't think we have to go into it. I'd rather, actually, maybe you could get, if Rob, you could speak with Rob and so that we can report on the different aspects of it.
Absolutely.
Sure, but thanks. You comfortable with that, Rob?
yes.
Good.
But we do have that here to warn. It sounds like that we don't have a motion to warn it yet. We should bring it back to committee.
Bring it back, right. Okay, we can drop down to administrators' reports. High school, Steve?
Thanks, Tim. This Friday at the high school, we will be finishing our math testing for the fall. We test our students in math and English. This past Wednesday, we also had our PSAT tests on October 10th, and we tested a total of 88 students in the PSAT. This was the first year that we tested in the school rather than off-site. And the rationale from that, I've been told, is the College Board, who sponsors the PSAT tests or controls the PSAT tests, they put a new thing in place where if you test students off-site, they can receive the test and take the test, but we were not entitled to receive the booklets back, which gives us the test and able to do an analysis with the students. So we had to, in return to get the booklets back, we had to give the test on site. So that's why we had to switch. We also have the musical coming up in the beginning of November. The musical this year is Les Mis. That will be at 7 PM, November 8th and 9th. And on November 10th, it will be at 2 o'clock and 7 PM. On October 22nd, we have Dr. Rick Reardon, who is the Director of Education at Castleton University. He will be coming to the high school, and he is going to be assessing our alternative programs. And he will be doing that to see if we have any gaps in programming or if we have any overlaps in programming. On October 25th, will be a financial aid night in the auditorium for juniors and seniors. And 2 weeks ago, the Department of Labor came to the high school to talk to students about post-secondary jobs in the job market. And we also recently had a sergeant from the Marine Corps come in to talk to students about their military options after graduation. And October 30th, we have a scheduling committee. Part of our CIP for the last couple of years has been to look at our schedule to make sure it's effective in how we monitor our students and educate our students. And the committee will begin on the 30th to look at what the current master schedule is at the high school and if it's the most effective schedule for the high school. And lastly, I'd like to thank our nurses who just completed 208 freshman vision screenings. And in 3 weeks, on October 30th, for 3 weeks, they will begin vision screenings for the seniors. So that is all I have, Tim.
Just a couple of questions on the PSAT. Do we encourage students to take that, or is it something that comes from guidance or teachers, or does it come from the home?
Probably a combination of everything. But it's usually when guidance has their meetings by the junior year and senior year, they're having meetings with parents and with the students. And if they want to potentially take the SAT and go a college track, or some students may just want to take it just to test themselves to see where they are.
Right.
So we're supportive of that.
Good. That's good. And one other thing, as students, seniors, and juniors are getting more involved with looking at colleges and trying to make some decisions, maybe at the next board meeting, you could tell us a little bit about what the high school does in terms of assisting these students, not only in the variety of schools that are available, but also what we do about trying to take full advantage of any financial aid that may be offered.
Sure, we can do that. And if you would like, I can bring someone from the guidance department, because it's also important to talk about what we're doing for students who are going into the workforce and who are going into the military.
Good.
All right.
I
Sure,
think
we can do
it would be interesting. Any questions of Steve? Yes.
Could you go over the PSAT off-site testing and getting the booklets back? Because I didn't understand what you were...
Traditionally, from what I understand, the PSAT was given as an off-site test on a Saturday.
Okay.
The College Board, who controls the PSATs, have put a new regulation in place because they control the test. If we continue to test off-site, as we have done historically, once the test is completed, we do not get the booklets returned to us, which are basically so we can analyze the test with the students.
Okay.
If we have it on-site, they do, but there's also a sort of second caveat. It's basically when the test was given off-site, it was the College Board's responsibility to pay for the proctors. Now that they're making the test on-site, it's now the school's responsibility to pay for the proctors.
Thank you.
So it's a cost-saving measure, I believe, on college boards. I don't want to speak for them, but I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I get it now.
Okay. Tim?
Are you all set?
We're-
A couple things that I just wanted to share with this evening from the middle school. First of all, folks may have noticed as they walked in this evening that there is a new monitor at the front desk at the roll-up door. If you visit the middle school during the school day, we have a new sign-in process now where we ask folks to come up to the front desk and sign in. If you've been to the high school, it's something similar to that. The only addition is that ours now has a scanner that makes it easier to enter your important information and allow us to clear you as a visitor. We ask that folks, if you are carrying a license, that you procure that, scan it, it'll plug your name in, tell you that you're okay to come into the building, and send you off with your sticker. I'm saying that here so that folks entering the building, that might be a little more convenient than having to sit there and type in all their information into the computer. But the system seems to be working. I appreciate the community members who've come in this week. Staff has been trying to be helpful at the front window, and for the most part, folks seem to be accepting of that this is 2018 and this is what you need to do to enter a building. So I appreciate everybody's courtesy and patience as we introduce the new system. Last night, Steve and high school staff were here with us. We hosted, along with Laura Boudreau, a conversation about proficiency and what that looks like at the middle school and the high school. We had about 50 families and community members join us. It was a nice conversation. It was an extended conversation, as several folks escorted me out into the parking lot, so I appreciated that for my own safety. It'll be an ongoing discussion, I believe, as we go through the year. We kind of are hearing questions and concerns from the community and trying to put out more information and be more transparent as we move into this proficiency system. I do want to thank the committee members who joined us last night. Tim was there, and Leon and others. I appreciate you coming out, and the community members who came out were very helpful and very complimentary of the staff in the presentation. For my planners, just a reminder, middle schoolers have half days next Friday, which is October 26th, and the following Friday, November the 2nd. So if your kids are telling you that they're coming home early on those days, they are telling the truth. We will be having professional development opportunities for both teachers and paras on those days. And then October 31st, Halloween. We don't do costumes at the middle school. It's tradition here, we don't do them, but what we will be doing on that day is we will be having a school-wide STEAM day, which is a science, tech, engineering, art, and math day. So we have school-wide activities for kids to participate in various activities throughout, so it'll be somewhat of a celebration and science day on the campus. And we invite folks from the board to come and visit us. We will certainly have Derek among us taking pictures and gathering stories. Then the last thing I wanted to say, and maybe I should ask first, are you going to talk anything about cross-country?
No.
Okay, I will. All right. So it was my pleasure yesterday to travel over the hill yesterday to Bellows Falls to watch Mount Anthony, both high school and middle school kids, compete in the Marble Valley League Championships. And I have to say that it's been a very positive experience for the 12 middle schoolers who ran at those championships to be surrounded by high school students who have been outstanding teammates and role models throughout the season. I also want to congratulate Evan Page, a senior at the high school. He won a very dramatic race in the high school, came down to the last 100 yards. He had an amazing finish and a well-deserved champion for the Marble Valley League. Sets him up nicely for the state meet in a couple of weeks. The boys team had an outstanding day. They finished second behind I'm pretty sure a ringer team from Thetford, and the girls did a nice job as well, as they put 2 athletes in the top 10. So it was a beautiful day to be out watching kids run. It was 50 degrees, the leaves were turning color, and kids were cheering for each other. Dave, you had a question?
Thetford's not in the Marble Valley.
I asked that question too.
That's why you called it a ringer team.
They stepped off the bus, and I thought perhaps the college team had been misplaced. They were, yeah, I was pretty sure they were a ringer, but they put out an outstanding performance and they won the race outright. So, yeah, we haven't seen them all season at the various Marble Valley meets, but they showed up yesterday. So,
Okay. Dave, you comfortable?
That's all.
Okay.
I'm on the cross-country ski committee team, or running team, so I'm going to ask that question at our next committee meeting, just to explain geography to me.
Dave?
Yeah, Tim, is there going to be, I think that the event that was held last night on Act 77 was part of a series, possibly?
Yeah.
Laura's been meeting with other building principals.
So there's a,
You've been meeting maybe too with at other locations.
yeah.
Well, there's
so
been
that-
one in Pownell and one in Shaftesbury so far, and as we debriefed this morning on this, we took on so many more new questions last night that we're committed that if there needs to be more events and more forums, we'll do it. And we also talked this morning about whether we need to generate a new FAQ based on questions that we received last night.
I was going to ask if we've resolved all the open questions, but it sounds like.
I don't know if we'll ever resolve all the open questions, because there were even new ones last night, some that we haven't thought about, and that's the beauty of an event like that. So.
A reminder too, though, at the district level, there's a proficiency-based learning committee which has parents and community members and board members sitting on that. So that will be another place to collect the information and questions you get and plan going forward. So it'll definitely be a year-long conversation.
Very good. Any questions?
I thought a lot of people that went to that event that had concerns went away feeling a lot better about their concerns. The only problem was not enough people went, but
Yeah.
those that were there were going, oh, okay, this is going to work, I guess.
That's good.
Very good. Any other questions? Okay, we can move on then. Carrie?
Okay, so I went to a food advisory committee meeting. They meet quarterly, so there was a meeting on September 20th. There will be another planned for January 17th. Just in case everyone doesn't know, this committee is made up of volunteers from schools, towns, the SBSU, boards, and the Abbey Group. They provide menu guidance. They review the performance of the food service management company, which is the Abbey Group, and they make recommendations to the board. So just a few things from the meeting. I think the real highlight was that the Abbey Group now has a website with interactive menus, so you can mouse over the menu and the meal will then tell you what the nutrition facts are, and you can rate each meal out of a number of 4 stars, which I think people were excited about. The committee adopted an information sheet so that when new people attend the meeting, there will be something to hand out so that everyone understands what that committee does as far as food service and USDA programming. Some other new things that happened, the middle school began offering smoothies on Fridays. Very exciting.
Very exciting.
Monument has started breakfast in the classroom, and that is going well. At the high school, an email is either going out or went out to request input about offering supper meals. Sounds like there's a scheduling difficulty with that, but there's some interest in trying to get that to happen, but with sports and clubs and everything else, that was going to be difficult. Also at the high school, they began grab-and-go lunch offerings for half-days, and we were just updated that the summer meals were very successful. They provided 33,803 meals in the 24 days of the program this summer. If anyone's interested in attending this committee, they're looking to recruit, and they want to involve parents and students who are interested. It was said that it would be really great to have a representation from every building where the food service is happening. So if you're an interested parent or student, the next meeting is January 17th, and it's in the afternoon, and they always provide some sort of treat. From the Abbey Group, we had chocolate chip cookies, so there's some incentive there.
Thank you very much, Carrie. Any questions for Carrie? Thank you very much for going to those meetings. I know that it's time-consuming, but it is important. And when you think about the nutrition that the kids get through those meals and the number of meals that are served, it certainly is an important function of the school system. Okay, we can move on then. There was no education committee meeting, but to pigtail on what Dave said, the meeting last night I thought was very, very beneficial, and in particular some definite answers were given to parents that had concerns. Steve, I think, did an excellent job of reassuring the high school parents that their students were the offerings were going to be similar to what they have been in the past, and that there would be a dual report card. And he went over very carefully a couple of times as to what the colleges are looking for in terms of information as they review students. And he was very, very good about letting them know that we are going to supply that type of information. So I thought it was certainly a success. And to answer your piggyback once again on what you said, Dave, I think a lot of people left feeling better than they did when they arrived.
I just wanted to thank the students that helped, which was Chris and Olivia. They shared their experience out there last night, and that was really great to be part of that.
Thank you. Okay, we can move on then for our student report. Jason?
Hi, good evening, everyone. So last Friday, we had in high school, we had the Sophomore Career Summit, and it's basically the day that 10th graders spent with in the outside of high school. I think it was in Benton College, right? It's in SV. Okay. So they were there. They were taking like some career classes with different professors and learn, like find a goal for themselves after high school, and it's like a little field trip day. Second of all, fall sports are almost over. We have seniors nights this week and the last week. So today is volleyball senior night, and we have a boys soccer senior night tomorrow, and October is almost over too. So fall sports is concluding, and students are looking forward to going to the tournament, going to the playoff games, and everyone is looking forward to go support the team during playoffs. So. And in MAU, Miss Wee and the drama club is hosting coffee nights. Basically is that students set out stage outside the auditorium in the cafeteria and like supply food, connect with other students, and everyone is welcome to participate. So it's a very fun event that drama club brings out and connects school together and bring out school spirits. And the drama club is also rehearsing the fall music play show, which is Les Mis this year, and that will go on in November 8, 9, and 10th. So they're rehearsing every day after school, trying to make the show as good as possible, and hopefully have a good performance during November. In Student Senate, we are hosting a volleyball tournament, an annual volleyball tournament between fall sports and winter sports. That event is used to help students to play volleyball, make a team, and school spirit once again. And this year, we made a little bit changes. There's no gender requirement anymore. The team can be composed with 6 people, and faculties are welcome too. So the teams can be the team can be made up by teachers, can be made up by 6 girls, 6 boys. There's no requirement because we have spoken to Saga, our Saga club. So we decided that we want to make this gender neutral, so everybody is welcome to participate. The freshman officer election was concluded, and we elected freshman officers in our high school. They were very active. They came to student senate meeting, discussed events with us, and they were working on fundraisers with their advisor, and hope to have a very fresh start for the freshman year. And lastly, Student Senate is also planning on a Thanksgiving dinner to a family around who is needed, and everyone bring some food, and we can send those dinner to the family, and hope to have a good Thanksgiving and enjoy the holiday with us. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Any questions? If not, we'll move on then to the superintendent's report.
Yeah. A few things. First, one thing about going last is I repeat a lot of what everybody else said. I did find last night to be a useful event and informative. I want to thank the students, teachers, administrators, and parents who attended, and since Principal Payne thanked Leon and Tim for attending, I want to thank Rob and Dave Fredrickson for attending. I came home with a sheet of questions that I heard from parents that are going to help as we all learn and move forward from this, and I think that the more we communicate and the more that we meet and talk about this and continue the conversation, the better it's going to be for everybody, because it is a big change, it is a big shift, so there's a lot to absorb with that. Speaking of changing, our November meeting is slated to be the night before Thanksgiving, so unless you want that turkey dinner to be served here to all board members, I think the suggestion that I have is that if you entertain the thought of shifting to the Wednesday before, because as luck would have it, Shaftesbury will be meeting on Thursday that week, and so will North Bennington, so there is a hole on that, so that if we would entertain moving the meeting to Wednesday, November 14th, rather than doing it the 21st, which is the night before Thanksgiving.
Let's take care of that right now. Does anybody see any objection to it? I don't think we need an official motion, but all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. We'll do it.
All right. And the other item, we have facilities report, and I'm going to have our Director of Facilities, Paul Dansborough, speak to you about water quality in our school buildings, and he has a report to share with you all.
Evening. So, request was an inquiry as far as water quality within high school. What I have is just prepared a quick executive summary for some of what was determined. The EPA established lead and copper rule legislation in 1991 to mitigate lead and copper concentrations in drinking water. The actionable limits that were established for those lead, you'll see is 0.015 parts per million, copper being 1.3 parts per million. The Town of Bennington Water Department has collected first draw water samples from Mount Anthony Union High School every 3 years from a period of 2003 to 2015. The testing was, the Town of Bennington has stopped the municipal testing of municipal waters, and as of 2017 guidance from the EPA, and they're concentrating their testing on residential areas. However, what you see following that, those water samples that were submitted to certified labs and tested. You can see each of the results from 2003 to 2015 with nothing that indicated significant issue or concern as far as levels of lead or copper within the first draw samples from the high school. And subject to questions or concerns.
Anybody have any questions about water quality at the high school or the middle school? Thanks for that report, Paul. There was a couple people that expressed an interest in finding out what we did about that.
Looking at the EPA limits and what the test results are, we're 1,000 miles from ever having a problem.
An important point to repeat that Paul said, town won't be doing our water test anymore because the EPA has shifted in 2017 the focus to residential testing, so they won't supplement. So if you decide you want further testing, we will have to pay for that. But as you can see, in 2015, our last test, as Ed pointed out, well below.
Very good. Any questions for Paul on any of this? Very good. We can go on then. I have no report.
Tim, do you want to talk about the VSBA meeting?
Go ahead.
Some of us attended that meeting. Tim was there early on. And the thing about, there's a law that is in Vermont State now about teacher negotiations. So there's going to be a statewide teachers negotiation for the contract. I asked if it was going to be open, and I asked that question to Dan French, and he said probably not. They got to negotiate that. They don't have to negotiate that, I'm going to tell you right now. 6-7 years ago, I got open teacher negotiations in this district. We were the first ones in the state. The attorney looked into it. You don't have to get them to say whether they want it open or not. My suggestion to him was you tell them we're going to have negotiations. Let us know when you're ready. If they're not, then you don't have to negotiate. And I think that's you have to take that attitude with these people, because if you don't, you know, everything's gonna be hidden again, and if the state can hide anything, they'll do it. So that was the highlight that I took away from me. So,
I want
anyway.
to clarify, it's a statewide contract for health insurance, so it's not a
Well,
statewide
no,
teacher's.
I asked about the teacher negotiations for the contract.
Yeah.
And he said that was going to be negotiated. They did say health, yeah, I heard that, but the other part of it. So here we go, so it'll be hidden, so you won't know what the hell's going to be putting on the table.
The act, there is an act that's been passed by the legislature in Vermont, I think it's either Act 6 or 8 or something like that, that has to do with health insurance. And basically, there's been a committee set up to have a statewide school employees' health insurance program that is mandatory to be implemented in 2020.
And that's why the directive we received is any contracts from our negotiations that will be commencing this fall can't be any longer than 2 years because of the change in health insurance. Yeah.
Right, so anyway, and that's there's committees, you know the way committees go, so it'll be, who knows how it'll turn out.
Yeah, we know.
Are there any other, yes?
I thought that Dan French indicated that the statewide contract that's being talked about will be on a regional level.
Well, he said that too, but he didn't say that it was going to be regional. It may be, but I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to get that out there so people will remember what I said at this meeting 2 years from now.
Okay. Any other comments under other? If not, I will entertain a motion for executive session.
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Very good.
And I'm asking that you invite Director of HR Nick Call.
I just was going to ask Jim, will we be?
You will not be taking any action.
So we will not be taking any action, but we will be coming back to this room to close the meeting.
I still have one more signature to make the
All you need is just two people signing.
I'll take it.